clear your mind. Let go of your stress. Forget about your worries of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year. Just focus on your breath. You can keep your hands by your sides with your palms facing up, just surrendering to the practice. Slowly rotate your head and neck to look out over your right shoulder. Deep breaths. And then slowly rotate your head and neck back to neutral. And then rotate to look over your left shoulder. Being intentional with your breathing. And then head and neck back to neutral. Stretch out long with your hands overhead, pointing your toes out like a long kitty cat stretch. And then we're going to hug the right knee for several breaths. You have the option to engage your foot, flexing your heel, rotating your ankle. Continue hugging that knee, paying close attention to the micro movements and the compression in your right hip socket. Then you can pick up your canvas strap and place it across the ball of your right foot, and then straighten your leg out, holding that strap. You might want to have your knee bent. You might want to straighten it. You might want to do a little bit of both. And then we're going to swing that right leg out to the right side, still in the strap if you like, and hold that there. It's a big stretch. Then as you lower your right leg back down to the mat and set your strap aside, we'll switch legs, hugging the left knee. Again, you can engage that foot and ankle by flexing and pointing your toes, rotating your foot, hugging your left knee tightly. And again, paying close attention to the micro movements and focusing on that compression in your left hip socket. Then pick up your strap again and place the canvas across the ball of your left foot, straightening out that leg. Hold it there. You are free to bend the knee slightly if you wish. Then you're going to swing that left leg out to the left side, again with the strap or without if you'd rather. And we're going to hold that. So then coming out of the half straddle, you'll set the strap aside again, lowering that foot back down to the ground. Both legs are out straight, stretching the arms out long overhead again, pointing your toes. And then hug both of your knees tightly. Continue to hold your right knee while lowering your left leg back down to the mat. Breathe into that. Then we're going to place the right knee onto the left side of your body for the supine twist. Arms can be in a T. Keep your drishti or your gaze out over your right fingertips. You have the option to use your left hand to apply a light pressure to your right knee if you wish. I often like to use a bolster under my knee. You can do this with props or without if you'd like to have a pillow or a block under your knee. Keeping your gaze out over your right fingertips. Just relax into that lovely supine twist. Just feel that release. And then you're going to turn your head slowly to look over your left shoulder. Hold your gaze out over the left fingertips for two full breaths. And then slowly turn the head and neck back to be looking out over the right shoulder again. And then slowly back to neutral. And you can lower that right leg back to the floor, hugging in both of your knees together, head and neck towards the knees, rocking and rolling. And then lowering your right leg to the floor while continuing to hold on to that left knee. Hold there for a few breaths. And then we're going to bring that left knee across the body to place on the floor or on a prop on the right side of yourself for the supine twist. Again, arms can be in a T, keeping your gaze out over your left fingertips this time. And if you like, using the right hand to apply that light pressure to the left knee at any point. Such a great twist. Just appreciate the power and the release. Then slowly we're going to turn the head and neck to the right, looking out over the right fingertips. Deep breaths. And then slowly rotating your head and neck to be looking out over the left fingertips again. And then back to neutral. Lower your left leg back down to the floor, coming out of the twist, stretching your arms long overhead, and hugging both knees again, stretching the neck, rotating both ankles, engaging your feet, flex your heels, point your toes. You can do this in unison or opposite each other. And then we're going to get into the reclined butterfly. You may want a bolster or blocks under your knees or thighs. Arms are down by your sides, palms facing up, surrendering to your practice. And then slowly glide your arms across the floor into the half moon, and then overhead, getting your hands into the steeple grip. Hold that stretch, reclined butterfly with hands in steeple grip. And then glide your arms on the floor again, back down to your sides like butterfly wings. Hands or palms are still facing up. Slowly we're going to stretch the arms out to the sides again, bringing them back up overhead in that half moon, and touching fingertips to each other in prayer hands. Keeping your arms outstretched overhead, fingers and thumbs can be touching lightly. You can have your hands in steeple grip again. You can do whatever is comfortable here. If you want to branch your arms out or arms in a T, whatever works for you. We'll continue to stay in this reclined butterfly. If you have any props, you'll want to remove them at this point. And then we're going to get into reclined tree pose on each side. First, straighten out your left leg and keep the sole of your right foot against the inseam of your left thigh as high as you can. Keeping those prayer hands or steeple grip or however you're holding your arms. And then we're going to simply switch sides, straightening out your right leg and placing the sole of your left foot high to the inseam of your right thigh. Arms are still overhead, branched out, goalpost, steeple grip, yogi's choice. And then we're going to reach for the strap, get the canvas across the balls of both of your feet for legs up the wall. Knees can be straight or bent slightly. You can pedal your feet and knees out. You can rock, you can wiggle, anything you wish. While continuing with the legs up the wall. your left foot in that strap across the ball of the foot while you remove the right foot from the strap and place it across your left thigh for reclined pigeon. You can bend that knee slightly as an option, or you can keep it straightened, or some of each, straightening and bending. Then we're going to switch out the feet, get your right foot back into that strap, removing your left foot and placing your left ankle across your right thigh for reclining pigeon on the other side. Again, you have that option to bend the knee or straighten it, or a little bit of both. Coming out of this, you can set your strap down by the side of yourself or overhead and then lay flat. We're going to do 3 honey bumblebee breaths, 3 fingers covering your eyes, thumbs on your ear cartilage, pressing your thumbs down on that tragus, closing off the airway into your ears, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. We're going to hum low pitch 3 times as we breathe out. After that, get ready to flip yourself over, slowly turning to the left or to the right to lay prone on your front side. You can rest your head on your hands, laying on top of each other, just relaxing while we prepare for another twist. Come up onto your elbows and forearms into Sphinx. Hike up your right knee out to the side with your right arm out in front of you. And with your left arm, you can thread the needle. Make any adjustments for this pose that you need as you get into the supine twist once again. You can simply place your right hand onto your right hip, or you can straighten out that right arm, trying to lay your shoulders and your arms flat on the ground. Or you can just keep that right hand on your right hip. And again, you can use the bolster or a pillow or a block to support your supine twist. Keeping your drishti out over your right fingertips. At any point, again, you can use your left hand to apply that slight pressure to your right knee. Take note of the difference from the last supine twist, having gotten into the pose from an entirely different sequence of prompts and directives. Also note the similarities along with those differences. And when you're ready, you can come out of the twist, again resting your head on your hands, laying them on top of one another for several breaths. And then you can lift your feet up off the mat, bending both knees, and windshield wiper the feet and calves back and forth from side to side. Slow that down, lower your feet back down to the mat, and then we'll come back up onto the forearms and elbows and hands into the Sphinx pose again. This time hiking your left knee up to the left side and reaching your left arm out in front of you and threading the needle with your right arm. And as you shift into the supine twist, you can place your left hand on your left hip, same as the other side. You can adjust yourself so that both shoulders and arms are flat on the ground in a T, or simply keep your left hand on your left hip. Either way, you're going to keep your drishti out over your left shoulder. And again, you have the option to apply that light pressure with the right hand onto your left knee if you wish. Enjoy this twist again, noticing those similarities and differences from the last supine twist, and even from the other side. Then when you're done coming out of this twist, again, rest your head on your hands stacked lightly on top of one another, and this time in a very exaggerated motion, really windshield wiper those feet and knees back and forth, loosening the hips out a great deal. Slowing that down, and then lower your feet back down to the ground. Then we're going to send our hips back towards the feet, getting into a wide knee child pose. You can use a block, a bolster, or a pillow if you'd like to rest your head on. We're going to hold this position for several deep breaths, really relaxing the torso, ragdolling that upper portion of your body, allowing gravity to do the work for you. Simply lean into it. And then when you're done, remove the prop if you have one, coming into a tabletop motion. And then back into Sphinx. This time on your arms, your elbows, and your forearms. Again, spreading your hands and your fingers out as wide as you can. Holding that Sphinx pose tall. And then turn your right forearm to be parallel with the top of the mat. Reaching back with your left hand to your left foot. Holding this half bow for several breaths. And when you're ready, you can take a minute here to attempt the full bow if you would like. You can use a strap if you need to, or if you have someone that can spot you. Whatever it takes to get both of your feet into each of your hands. What I like to do is let go of the one foot, try to reach back with my right hand to grab my right foot, and then grab my left foot again. It's different day to day. You might want to use the strap. You might not be able to do it in that event. Don't sweat it. Just do whatever stretching is comfortable for you. There's some days where I just can't do this one. It's funny because I can do it easily on some days, but it just depends, right? So explore this full bow shape. If you want, you can use your breath and your diaphragm to rock, or you can remain still, or some of each. It's a very challenging pose. Nice chest opener. And then as you let go of your feet, you can rest your head on your hands. Again, one hand on top of the other. And again, windshield wipering those feet, really loosening the hips out too. And then slow that down, lower your feet back down to the floor. And the same thing on the other side. Coming back into Sphinx, stretching your hands and fingers out as wide as you can. Sitting tall. Before then turning your left forearm to be parallel with the top of your mat. And reaching with your right hand back to hold your right foot. Engage in this half bow for several breaths. And then just like on the other side, if it's in your practice, you can attempt the full bow. Again, using your strap, having a partner spot you. Whatever it is that you need to support yourself in this challenge of full bow. And again, you can use your breath and your diaphragm to rock yourself back and forth, or you can try to remain still, or some of each. Again, when letting go, lower both feet to the mat, and now send your hips back to sit on your feet in child's pose. Just regular child's pose this time. And while sitting on your feet, you can rest your forehead on a block. We're going to be here for a bit. Relax into it. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. And just really ragdoll that torso, leaning into it. And then you can use your fingers to walk your hands, or you can just slide your hands to the right edge of the mat, reaching for the upper right corner of the mat, feeling the stretch extend across your lower left ribs. And then sliding or walking your fingers and hands back to neutral. And then slide or walk hands and fingers to the left edge of the mat, reaching towards the upper left corner. Focus on the extension in the lower right ribs. And then you can glide or walk your fingers and hands back to neutral. Take a couple of deep breaths in this child's pose, and then you can use your hands to push yourself up into lightning bolt pose, pausing here for a few moments. You might want to use blocks or props here. You might want to just place your hands on your thighs, remaining still, noting the challenge of this seemingly simple pose. It's a good posture to just relax into. maybe hands over heart, prayer hands over heart. Maybe rising those prayer hands up and then bringing them down again. Hands on your thighs.